Hello folks, Simon here, back with you today to review the Flint 4KP capture card from ClonerAlliance. And full disclosure, they did send this to me in exchange for this video, but you are going to be getting my genuine thoughts and opinions, having used this a few times now for live streaming and recording some content for YouTube. So opening the box, it was nice to see that ClonerAlliance have included everything you need to get up and running here. Of course, that includes the capture card itself, but there are a bunch of cables, including an HDMI cable, and a collection of adapters. And that's really nice to see because this capture card is not only compatible with your Windows PC, and that's how I will be using this, but it is also compatible with Mac, Linux and Android devices over USB-C. And the product itself does feel to be very good quality. It has a little bit of weight to it. It certainly does not feel cheap at all. And as you can see, it is very portable. I would say it is roughly similar in size, perhaps a little smaller than a deck of playing cards. So I mentioned this is called the 4KP, and that stands for 4K as in the resolution, and then the P is for pass-through. And what that effectively means is that you can connect a 4K device into this capture card. In my case, that's going to be my PS5. You can have a live view of that device in 4K on your monitor. However, you cannot capture or stream that footage in 4K. That will be limited to a maximum of 1080p 60 frames per second, which I have to say is more than sufficient for my needs. Since I do a lot of live streaming to YouTube, 4K would be a little bit overkill because much of my audience would not be able to handle the bandwidth of that and would be getting a lot of buffering. So I find 1080p 60 frames per second is the perfect sweet spot. Now, if you do need a capture card that can output recorded files or live streams at 4K, then you can get those, but you are going to have to be prepared to spend quite a little bit extra. But because this does have the 4K pass-through, even though I am streaming at 1080p, I still have the live view on my monitor in 4K. Now, the great thing about this capture card is it is so easy to use. It is completely plug and play. Okay, you connect the required cables and everything just works. Now, you will need to use some software on your streaming computer or device. For me, on my Windows PC, I find OBS Studio works absolutely fine and it is completely free of charge. Oh, one important note, it is imperative to make sure you have disabled HDCP on whatever device you are going to be connecting this to. So for me, that's my PS5. If you do not disable HDCP, which is a form of content protection, then you will not get an image from this capture card in your streaming software. You will probably get an error message. That isn't a defect. That happens with every single streaming card out on the market. So just make sure you have that HDCP disabled. So looking at the product itself, there are two HDMI ports, an import, that's for any device that you want to stream from, for example, a console or a camera, and then you have an optional HDMI out port, and that's so you can connect the capture card to a display such as a monitor for your pass-through. Now, you don't have to use this if, for example, you are streaming using OBS, then you can actually use the view from OBS in order to play your game. And again, you don't need to use that pass-through, but if you want that 4K pass-through, then that's what that port is for. And then on the rear of the product, we have the USB-C port, and this will also serve not only for data transfer, but for power as well. So there is no additional power required for this capture card, which is nice. And then there are a couple of ports for audio. These are also optional. Line in, mic, line out. These allow you to connect headphones, microphones, so that you can use those directly with the capture card instead of connecting them to another device such as a computer. So having all that in one product is a really nice bonus. The one thing I would suggest strongly is to make sure you are using this over USB 3.0 at a minimum, and that will give you that smooth, buttery, latency, lag-free experience. So in conclusion, the Flint 4KP, I have just found it to be a super versatile capture card. There's not really anything wrong I can say about it. It captures a great image, it is really easy to use, the whole plug and play functionality, no problems with that. The fact that it is compatible with a wide variety of devices, more than what I would be using it for, I'm just really happy with it. Thank you for watching the review, I hope it helped.